Time to look at Hold On. It came out on my own record label UNDRSIEGE Recordings. And again, I will take you through from the start throughout the end result. So again, this is like my first initial ID. As you can see, it's just a bunch of stuff thrown together. I got my hi-hats and my claps, which I loaded in from another project. And then I added some stuff. So this is the very, very, very first draft. And you can hear some elements that made the end result and some that didn't. So we got this vocal step, which is basically like the whole idea is I wanted to create like a groover based around like a repetitive vocal step. And it's just two samples layered. Right. Then I need a simple groove, which came from this kick and this bass. Some melodic elements. This came from Serum. And I think I got envelope 2 going to this thing here, which is the chorus pitch. Same for every oscillator. And that just makes it kind of squelchy sound. I got simple plug, which is a sample, but it's just like a sine wave, very simple. Guitar plug. And we got stabs. Which I don't think made the end result. And then a bunch of percussive loops. And hats, claps, and a top loop. And then you can see all these elements down here is stuff that I tried, didn't work, and didn't make the end result. So from this, then I try to develop it into a record. So let's move on to the next project. So this is the second project. As you can see, this is where I developed it more into a song. So let's go through the elements. Textures to fill out the background, basically my vocal step. This has delay and reverb to build it in the breakdowns. Reverse vocal. Kick. So these are the plugs. As you can see, it's the same elements, but just tidy it up. I grouped them, I named them. Bassline still the same. It's a sample with some processing, sidechain of course. Hi-hats. nothing special. Combination of loops and heads. Hits, I mean. Closed, open, right. Simple claps, some fills. And then the percussion bits. And a simple top loop all together. And then I got a fill, which is a combination of different fills. For fills, it can be a pain to get like the right fills, but I tend to just look for them and then try and combine them until I got something that I think sounds cool. I got the big riser from the breakdown. Which is a preset from a toolroom sample pack or preset pack. An alarm. Snare roll. Basic effects, just samples. Some crowd noise always works in the breakdowns. And like, at this point I was like, okay, it's nice, we have a nice groover, it works, but something needs to happen, right? Basic arrangement. And then I thought, like, what if in the middle of the record we just build a moment where you break it down, and then you could just like go with a silence. But I've been wanting to do something with this sample for a long time. I think, was it Drake who used this as well? And I always thought it was a pretty cool one.
Hold on, fuck that. Fuck that shit. Hold on, I got to start this motherfucking record over again.
I thought it was a pretty cool one. It's from Moody Man from a set, where he just takes the mic and does this.
Hold on, fuck that. Fuck that shit. Hold on, I got to start this motherfucking record over again. Wait a minute. Fuck that shit.
And then to introduce it, I used a backspin. So everything together, it sounds a bit like this.
Hold on, fuck that. Fuck that shit. Hold on, I got to start this motherfucking record over again. Wait a minute. Fuck that shit.
So basically what this does is it breaks the whole record, it just stops everything. And then we have like a minute to build everything again. I added some extra fills in the breakdown. I thought these sound pretty cool. And then basically we do almost the same as we done in the first breakdown, build everything up. So this, at this point I was like, okay, this is the ID for the record. And then I moved it into another project. So let's get into that one. So this is the next project, next step of the project, I have to say. As you can see, it has the title already. I can see there's more loops. In the first project, I had only one top loop, and I thought already like, only one. So here's more loops to fill everything out a bit more. And I also noticed that compared to the previous version, I moved the backspin a little bit earlier. Hold on.
Hold on, fuck that. Fuck that shit.
And I added more vocal elements as well. So we got this one. And then I added a female shout and a simple yeah. Just to give it like more identity, basically. And I introduced this riser as well. So I think the main difference going from a previous project to this one is the breakdown. So we were building it. And going from this like straight into the drop didn't sound as powerful. So I thought like, what if we just leave the vocal step running and go from wet to dry and then drop it. So we got this. I think that sounded pretty cool. And then like another element we did, or I did, was adding this riser. Which might be this one. Yeah, so that's the basic one. This is called Shepard stone. And what it basically is 3 layers, 3 different octaves. They all go up. And then you automate volume to trick the brain into thinking that it keeps going up and up and up. And you could build this just like in 3 channels, but I built this inside Serum. So I use this LFO to make every oscillator go up 1 octave. And then this one is -1, this is a 0, this is +1. And then I also need to automate the volume, and that I've done with. So this one is automating the volume for this. and that's the lowest octave, so that should go, it comes up, and then this one is a higher octave, that one goes down. That's controlled by also LFO 3, and this one by 2. So yeah, it's easier if you just do them 3 channels, but I felt like I can do it inside of Serum, so I want to do it. And it's just sine waves, but because the volumes automate, it keeps going up and down, and they take over each other, and it tricks your mind into thinking that it's going up and up and up and up. But it sounds as is a bit blunt, so I added some effects. This lo-fi kind of thing, and then this ring, which basically make it a bit cooler. And that, I think, was more or less my endpoint. Of course, with the sample, it's 2 things. Firstly, radio, it's not radio friendly because there's a lot of swearing. And secondly, it's sample, I don't have the rights. So I decided to re-record it myself. So let's go into the final project to see how I did that. Okay, so this is a project where I've done the revocal. This is the original sample.
Hold on, fuck that.
And this is a revocal.
Hold on, F that. F that shh. Hold on. I got to start this mother loving record over again. Wait a minute. F that shh.
So what I've done is I took the original sample. I used track spacer on there very heavily. So you can see it pushes out all the vocal, but it keeps like the background noise. Like gives you the vibe of the original record. And then I just took a recorder and I re-recorded the vocals.
Hold on, F that. F that shh. Hold on. I got to start this mother loving record over again. Wait a minute. F that shh.
And the thing is, like even the original sample doesn't sound clean, so it's perfect to do it yourself. I just pitched my vocal down 1 semitone, and then I put a lot of distortion on it, I suppose. A lot of compression, more compression with the OTT, squashing it to that. And then I got this retro-fi to give it that old school feel.
I got to start this mother loving record over again. Wait a minute. F that shh.
And then some CLA vocal to give it some, basically just give it a bit of stereo, a bit of delay, a bit of reverb, a bit of extra compression, and a bit of high end. Altogether it sounds like this.
Hold on, F that. F that shh. Hold on. I got to start this mother loving record over again. Wait a minute. F that shh.
Altogether it sounds like this.
Hold on, F that. F that shh. Hold on. I got to start this mother loving record over again. Wait a minute. F that.
And this gives me a version that is clean for radio. I can upload it to Spotify without being sued. And I still got the original version with the sample, which I think still is the coolest one to play in my sets. I hope this gives you some insight in how I do stuff. From here, again, I bounce everything into stems into another project to do the final mix down, but I didn't do anything really special to that one. If you want more info on how I do that, you can watch my previous videos, as I showed it a couple times before. But I think this, like, we covered everything from this track. As always, if you have questions, drop them in the comments and I will get back to them. But this is it for now. Take care.